Getting ready to put this auxiliary gearbox back on. I got to clean all of this gasket surface with a scraper, a sharp gasket scraper. I just use these thick putty knives and I sharpen them up on the grinder. This one's getting dull though, it's just got kind of an angled edge on it. Anyway, I'll get all of that cleaned off, anything rough on it, and then this is a local farm supply store that has the best prices locally on brake cleaner. You want to use brake cleaner, paper towel or a clean cloth, and clean cloth is probably better because it doesn't leave lint behind as easily as paper towels. But in any case, you just want to wipe it all off, all your gasket surfaces. I'm going to do it on these bearing covers in the back here that go over these. I'm going to put these, and I'm going to clean this surface off before I put these on, because the glue has to stick to that. I don't want the glue to have any oil underneath it because it won't make a good seal. Just going to use silicone glue on it. Not the one that smells like vinegar. I use the Ultra Blue most of the time. The man at the transmission shop says the gray silicone is good, and I told him, well, I've got the blue. He says, well, the blue is fine. So that's what I'm going to use, but I don't use the one that smells like vinegar. That's that soft one. I don't like that one. I like the other one. It dries a little harder. You'll see when I put it on. This is one of the dowel pins that came out. I know I did a little piece of video on this earlier, but I don't know which complete video it is on, so I'll just go over it again. It came out, it was stuck in the gearbox. It's on the lift there. Anyway, I cleaned it up on the brush wheel, and I'm going to put it back in the transmission case. I'm going to take a round file and clean up the hole a little bit. I'm not going to cut any metal out of it, just rust or dirt, whatever's in that hole besides metal. I'm not going to file hard, just enough to clean it out a little bit and hammer this back in, and I'm going to see where the other one's at. This is the pin that I just showed and cleaned up, and I hammered it in, and I didn't have any trouble hammering it in. It did have some resistance, it did need the hammer, but it each hit it went in a little bit, and so about 10 hits and it was in, and the back end of it's flush, just like Vince said it should be. Anybody seeing this video alone, Vince is the guy at the transmission shop that's coaching me through this job and got the parts for me. Now I'm gonna take a piece of sandpaper and clean this one off. I'm not gonna do it on camera because I don't have a camera mount down here with me, but I'm gonna clean this thing off here. This one is not in, I can't even feel the back of it. My finger doesn't go in far enough, so this one's not in there far enough. I got to maybe even get this one out of there. I don't know. Now I'll just clean it up out here and see if I can knock it in farther. Sorry, I had to get the fuel lines in the way. Well, Vince told me to hammer these in till they're flush because you need some of it sticking out to center. But since this is like a shoulder here that's a little bit thicker up here, this part's thicker up to this line than this. You slide the gearbox on this one, and then when you get up to this one, it's more of a press fit, and it centers it. Make sure that it is as close to centered as it's going to get. Well, we got the same thing on this one. But the difference is, yeah, there's a hole in the back here where this pin did not go all the way through to flush like Vince says it should be. I don't know why he didn't know this, but I'm looking at about 1¼ inches here, 1 1/8 inches thick across here, and over here I'm looking at about 3/4 of an inch thick. Where's the camera at? Okay, this is a lot thinner here, so that's why this one came out flush, and we still got about 1/2 inch sticking out here. That's good. We got less than 1/2 inch here, about 3/8, but at least it's enough to center that gear case. And if I knocked that in far enough to be all the way flush, we wouldn't have any of this sticking out, because this is a lot thicker. So I'm not going to hammer it in any farther. I didn't know that until I got the rust cleaned off of it, but now I can see. So I still have to clean all of this off all the way around here to make sure we're going to have a nice clean seal. I got a rag laying in here to catch oil that was just draining down and working its way back, because the back end of the transmission is sitting lower than the front, so it's going to keep draining this way. Well, I hope my jig isn't going to be in the way of this drain plug. If it is, we'll have to take the drain plug off. I mean, those bars that go out this way underneath it. We'll find out. Not a big problem if we got to take it off. Anyway, I'm going to clean this and dry it with paper towels and brake cleaner. It's been sitting for a few days, so it should not have much more oil draining out of it. Gotta do that all the way around. And I'm just doing this with one hand because I'm holding the camera. Clean and dry all the way around. This one string here off this rag. Get that out of there. Gotta do that. Yep, get all the way around. This video won't be as long as the one taking it down, because it's going to be pretty much a reverse of the same thing. I got this side clean and ready, and I'm going to go out and clean up the gear case and get it down here, get it in position to install it, and make sure that it's ready to just go right up before I try to put the glue on, because if I don't have it ready to go up and I'm running into an issue, I don't want the glue to be drying on me before I get this thing ready to put it up there. Try to make sure there's no oil that's going to drain out the bottom of this thing and get on my gasket surface. I mean, there's no gasket, but there's, you know, the glue. We got to keep that clean and dry. I'm also getting all the silicone out of these bolt holes. Should have done that before I blew it off. I'm going to have to blow it off again. don't have a round file, you can just use a bolt, a long bolt that fits through there. Threads on the bolt will cut that silicone off of there. I'm ready to bring this thing down and put it under there. I covered the whole thing up with a rag, a large rag or towel or whatever you got, to keep the dirt off of it, because I got to run it underneath this, between this tire and this thing here, and dirt always falls off of that. I do have the truck jacked up a few inches higher than it was when I took it down. That'll help. But I don't want getting a bunch of dirt in there and then having to take it back out to clean it again. I wiped my glue all the way around there, only on the transmission. I'm not going to put it on the gear case too, because I got a little less room to work with getting it on the gear case. But anyway, I want to go ahead and pull my rag out of there and pull my rag out of this one and get ready to bring it on up there. And sorry I can't record it, don't have anyone to hold the camera for me, so it doesn't matter. You just jack it up and wiggle it around until you get it in place. I wish I could have got this on video, but I was having trouble getting it to go all the way up, and I knew, well, my gears aren't quite meshing. The gears from the auxiliary box to the main gearbox, and I thought the only way to get them to mesh is to turn it. Well, the yoke wouldn't turn because I had these too tight. So I loosened these little nut bolts here that are holding those shafts up. I loosened them up a little bit, loosened this one a little bit, and then I loosened that one. When I started to loosen that one, the whole thing turned. The gears turned, the yoke turned, and then I thought, oh, well, it moved a little bit, let me push on it. It slid right in. It slid right in all the way home. Now I got to hurry up and get these bolts in there before that glue dries. I got most of the bolts tightened down. Of course, I don't have any of them in on the bottom because this is in the way. But I just took those two bolts out that are holding that bracket that I made on. And this is ready to lower this thing down and get it out of my way and finish putting these bolts in. Okay, I got that out of the way and I got these bolts started. By the way, I did have to take this oil plug out. It was dead in the way. No biggie. I got to wipe these off now. I took those keepers off. I got to wipe both of these things down with brake fluid and then put some silicone on that and put those caps on.